Welcome back to another unboxing video. This time I'll be unboxing Dale of Merchants 2. So I already have the first one, so I know a fair amount about this game. This is a deck building game. And the cool thing about Dale of Merchants is even if I was to buy Dale of Merchants 2 first, I can actually play Dale of Merchants 2 without the original Dale of Merchants. Same thing with Dale of Merchants 3, and same thing with Dale of Merchants, the collection. All of the Dale of Merchants games can be played separately. They can also be combined with the original Dale of Merchants. So you can play all of the Dale of Merchants together, or you can play them separate. And so that's really cool about this game. This is a Snow Dale Design. So this is by Snow Dale Design, which I believe is in Finland. So that's pretty far away. So this is kind of a hard game to get, especially since the shipping and handling would normally be pretty expensive, unless you can find a copy in the United States or where you live. And then we have the Dice Tower Seal of Excellence on this game. So that's really cool too. So it's big time approved by Tom Vasel and the rest of the gang at Dice Tower. So that's really cool. So it's definitely going to be a good game. So let's open it up and see what's inside. Let's see what cards are in here, since it is a deck building game. Okay, so here's the merchant stalls, you could say. This is our board for the game, and it's a really nice looking merchant stall. Because in this game you're a merchant, and you're trying to set up stalls, and you're trying to sell various objects, and trying to get other people, obviously, or should I say critters, to buy your stuff, obviously. So that's what the game is about. You're just gonna, it's a short deck building game where you're trying to build up a certain amount of stalls, merchant stalls, of various items from various animals, or should I say critters. And so this is also double-sided, so you can play on either side, and it doesn't really change gameplay, it just has different artwork on each side, which is still pretty cool. The nighttime version versus the daytime. But I gotta say, I like the lizard here fishing. That's really cool. So it doesn't matter what side you play with, but it's really cool regardless. The artwork is nice. So, and then here's the rule book. So really, I already know how to play the game, so it won't be long before I do videos on this. I'll probably do a playthrough of this game with, you know, some of the animals from the game, and because I already know how to play the game, more or less. So the only thing will be to learn how the cards work, the card mechanisms work, because each card mechanism is obviously going to be different, but for each animal, they each have their own way of, their own mechanics as well. So let's take a look at what those animals are. And so we'll be opening these now. Okay, so here we have the Cunning Neighbor, which is a friendly fennec fox. So that's one of the merchants in this game. Each of the merchant piles will have an animal or a critter, and then everything else after the critter will be their stuff. Will be their stuff that they want to sell in a merchant pile. So, and there's all sorts of cool stuff that each of them sell. They each have their own way of playing the game, so their own style. Each of their piles have their own style. So each critter will have their own style, but that doesn't mean that all of their cards are exactly the same. They're all still very unique from each other, the way they're played. So that's really cool. So let's just take a look and see what these friendly Fennec Foxes have. So obviously, actually, when you play this game, you're going to only play with a certain amount of critters depending on how many players are playing the game. But when you decide, or when you randomly decide which of the critters you're going to play with, every player will start with one of these critters here. So every player is going to get one of each of the animals in the game. Nobody's going to be picking, like, I want the crocodile, and so wants the Fennec Fox, and somebody else wants the beaver, or something like that. But that doesn't happen. So everybody's going to get the same animals to start with. And everyone's going to possibly get access to the same stuff in the stalls to, purchase and put into your stall. And since this is since you can have up to 4 players with this game, obviously that's how many exactly there is. So if you're not playing a 4-player game, the rest of the Fennec Foxes that don't get utilized won't be put in the game. So no one's going to have 2 Fennec Foxes or something like that. So this is one of their items. It's Cheer. And then we have Raffle. Then we have Charity. And Tasters. And Rumors. So that's all of their cards. Alright, so now the next animal. The next critter. Critter Merchant. Is the Little Villain. Intimidating dwarf crocodiles. Now, there is always... in the original game, the first one, the most... nasty animal in the game was actually the raccoon. And so there's usually at least some sort of critter that will have a strategy that will be fairly aggressive in the game. So if you don't want to play with a fairly aggressive card, obviously there'll be some critters you won't play with. But from what I understand, even though it says this is the Little Villain and this is the intimidating dwarf crocodile, he isn't so bad compared to another critter in this Dale of Merchants 2 game. So you'll see him shortly. But let's take a look at his cards, or should I say their cards. So we have the Scary Gunfight. And then we have Night Shift. Then we have Ruthless Competition. And Nasty Threat. So we got some crutches for that one. And then we have Lost Shipments. That reminds me of something. Peter Pan or something-esque. Sort of. Okay, so the next animal, the next critter, is the Steady Achiever. Diligent, pale-throated sloths. So we have sloths in this game too. So let's take a look at their stuff. We have Shopping Journey. And we have House Cleaning. And Siesta. Lunch Break. And we have Ironing as well. So that's their stuff. Alright, let's take a look at the next ones. These are the Tireless Tinkerers, Experimenting Platypuses. So let's look at their stuff. Calculations. Safety Precaution. Magnet. Dangerous Test. And then we have Glue. Okay. And then there's still more. So the next one is the Wise Spy. So observant snowy owls. So let's take a look at their stuff. We have ancient knowledge, quality inspection, binoculars, balancing, and then we have extra remarks. And then we still have more. We have the Daring Adventurer, Reckless Marbled Polecats. And this one is the cards that will work with this dice. So in the last game, the Lucky Ocelots, they used the dice in the game. And so in this game, these Daring Adventurers, these Marbled Polecats, they will be using this dice with some of their cards. So let's take a look at their stuff. First we have the Rare Artifact, and it uses that dice. And we have Swank. And Risky Business. And Natural Survivor, and it uses the dice. And then we have Sofa. Okay, obviously another thing this game has is junk cards. Now, since you can play either the first one or the second one by themselves, they each come with their own junk cards. Junk cards are exactly the same. Everybody is going to start with a certain amount of critter animals in the game, but then the rest of their starting deck will be junk cards. So if you're playing with a certain amount of players that allows you to play with 3 of the critters in the stalls, then you're going to have 3 critters to start with, whichever they may be. Maybe it's the crocodile and the polecats and the owls, for instance, or something like that. And then the other 7 cards, because you start with 10 cards, will be these junk cards. Now, the junk cards are a little different in artwork. They're the same card from the first one. They're still the same exact thing. They do the exact same thing, but the artwork is a little different. So that's cool. So if you were to play with this, you could play mix and match maybe some of the junk cards to add some more differences for sure. But you can play with any of the junk cards you want. Just make sure you hand out the amount you're supposed to get to each player. But that's still really cool. So it doesn't hurt to have extra junk cards. But wait, we still have more. So, this expansion came with a promo pack. So it came with a new Animal Folk deck as well. And so, it came with a couple of other cool little stuff. And came with this card that tells you what the strategy is for this new critter, which is the Master Builder, Systematic Eurasian Beavers. Okay? So let's see what they have for their stuff. We have Snack, and Wind of Change, Overtime, Order and Chaos, and the last one is Practice. So that's their stuff. Okay, so let's take a look and see what, let's just read these out. So the experimenting platypuses, the strategy for them is card control. Platypuses get the right cards into their hands at the right time. Rookies grasp platypuses quickly, and experienced players like to try out new things with them. So that's the strategy, and for that particular critter. Next is the diligent, pale-throated sloths. Delayed actions. Sloths focus on efficiency in the long run. You need to make plans if you don't want to waste their delayed effects. Feel free to include them even in your first game. Just don't expect to be able to unleash their full potential right away. That's good. I like that one. Okay, intimidating dwarf crocodiles. Threatening and harassing. Crocodiles bully other competitors by stealing their property and making threats. Invite crocodiles if you want interaction and conflict. Ha ha ha. Yes, you're going to get conflict with the dwarf crocodiles, for sure. But you're also going to get interaction, which is why I like the aggressive theme. Because I like interaction in my games. I don't have to have interaction every time I play, but this is definitely a mechanic I really like about games. More interaction with your opponents. That's awesome. And it's just some crocodiles. Of course they're going to be aggressive. What do you expect? It's a crocodile. Okay, then we have the friendly fennec foxes. Helping others. Foxes love to get everyone involved. Other folks are wary of their seemingly friendly gestures, but can't resist foxes' tempting aid. Playing with them requires skill as timing is critical when trying to get the most out of these fellows. So this may not be the first critter you choose for your first game because of that. Then we have the reckless marbled polecats. Taking risks. No mountain is too tall or ocean too deep from polecats. These brave adventurers live for danger and aren't afraid of taking chances. Feeling lucky? Okay, and then we have the observant snowy owls. Reacting to others. Owls wait patiently for their target to make a move before making their own. They are great at adding more interaction between players and will keep you on your toes. Be sure to stay vigilant when playing with them. So another one that is going to add some interaction between players, and it sounds like they may be almost as aggressive as the crocodiles, if not more. So that's going to be interesting. And then it says you may activate an owl card once each time its trigger happens, even multiple times in a turn. The wise spy, Owl 1, is an exception as it can only be used once in your own turn. So that's interesting. So that's basically what you're going to get depending on which critter you play with. But then, of course, there's still the beavers that we haven't read about yet. So the systematic Eurasian beavers. Careful planning. Do you have what it takes to create a plan and then execute it with precision? Once you master the beavers, you can unleash awesome combos. They are recommended only for players with a bunch of games under their belt. All beaver cards stay in your schedule after you play them as techniques. They stay there until a card-specific trigger happens and makes you resolve the card fully. Read the triggers carefully, as the cards must be discarded when fully resolved, even if the action is not taken. So this is definitely a strategy if you've played this game several times. I've only played the game a few times myself, so I'm probably not ready to play with these Eurasian beavers just yet. But still, that's really cool. When I get around to playing this game a bunch more, I'll probably give these guys a try and see if I can pull off an awesome strategy with the Eurasian beavers. So, that's basically all there is to talk about in this unboxing video. So I'll see you guys again soon, eventually when I get around to doing this game, playthrough of Dale of Merchants 2, and then once I fully grasp all of the critters, I'll probably do a bunch of different videos on all of the different critters and their various items that they're trying to sell at their shops. Okay, well, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you guys liked this video, and I'll see you guys again next time.